Oh my goodness, I just realized that you guys couldn't hear me. Um, so, just a little hiccup. Because I didn't realize that I'd muted myself on the actual. I hadn't muted myself on the program, not just on the hardware. So yeah, to bring up to speed what I was saying, and getting Pretzel back up because it decided to stop working. Um, Deep and diverse methods of world building and just things I've never had to consider before, such as uh, such as geopolitical elements of religion and yeah. Oh god, sorry. I'm just gonna turn this down. It's really there we go. Yeah, and just to show how deep this kind of thing is, because a lot of people, when they play a game, they don't really have to think about, uh, in what country this festival originated from, or why the hero decided to stop in this town in particular to do their quest, which became like the national song, or how much I mean how much depth there is applied to the art form. So when I'm gaming, it helps me to appreciate it more. I know that some people feel that it's you lose some of the magic because you know what the magic trick is, but for me, it just really helps me appreciate the art form because I mean, a magic trick, once you know it, you know it. But with a game, everyone tackles it differently, and that's what I appreciate most. And yeah, that's what I'm gonna be trying to emulate. So yeah, we're just looking at more, hopefully something a little bit more specified to religion rather than influence and power, which would come from an organizational point of view. But yeah, hopefully I can just copy paste all of that next time. But it was definitely really interesting to learn about economics and power structures, which I had no idea. Make a small correction to one of yesterday's entries. So a thalassocracy is a power in the water. So I misinterpreted that as political power, but more of a it's more of a system of command. So you have your captain, your first mate, cook, chef, and all of that. So understandably, that's not the same as having a political power on board because as someone who has done sailing in my life, water is really dangerous. And like swimming in it is one thing, but being on a heavy water vehicle that is moving very that feeling of oh no, someone could get really hurt doing this. So yeah, it really changes your perspective on something that technically has. I mean, it has volume, but it doesn't really have mass. It's so soft. Water is soft, but not really. It could kill you. So it's really interesting how these experiences change your life perspective. So yeah, so I think I will be getting into it now, and yeah, if anyone wants to, you know, and then I shall start screen sharing with you guys in a second. Oh, I know what's up. I'll be right back. I'll be right back. I am back. Well, I probably shouldn't yell. I'm sorry, guys. Yeah, it turns out my one viewer was my automated moderator. That's fantastic. Alright, so getting back into it, let's have a look. So last time we had done most of the geopolitical stuff, so I'm just going... Oh, there we go. So last time I did most of the geopolitical stuff and just doing the different kinds of government. So we got our not really nice section on the left, our nicer section on the right. Wait. Oh, my mouse kind of disappears. That's crazy. Oh wait, no, it doesn't disappear. It does that little, like, text thing. Yay. Alright, so... what is going on here? Alright, and I'm just going to make a little note for myself to just look into that later, because apparently I'm having some issues with my settings, which were not optimized. So next stream will be even better, guys. So often the person making the actual decisions or the leading faction currently in power. So that's what we were looking at earlier last time. So here are all the government systems. Alright, the official currency. How do the members, citizens of this organization conduct day-to-day or large transactions? What is the coinage or other type used? And what are their denominations? Consider notes, credits, shells, bottle caps, credit cards, subdermal chips, gold bullion, or souls. I love that one. Souls at the end of there. But yeah, it's really interesting. Like, I kind of feel like in today's church is small-ish, then yeah, they wouldn't really mind, but I feel like that would kind of, you know, not be encouraged, because that's a form that, you know, you can't. Judicial body who is responsible for carrying out the interpretation of the laws of this organization. It's really funny that these are, you know, that these are different elements. So this kind of reminds me of Judge Dredd, if anyone's read the comic books. Oh hey, I have a viewer. Is this a user? Hello, person who has joined. I acknowledge your presence. Let me know if the stream is really choppy, because I am trying my best here. I'm just gonna close this as well. Anyway, yeah, so it reminds me of Judge Dredd, where he was judge, jury, and executioner. So this would be... wherein... brain... Hold on, my brain. Wherein kind of like the jury, like how applicable is this law to this template. So recognized and official languages. I mean, I don't really feel like that needs like a little thing attached. All right, demography and population. So use this if the organization use lands which are inhabited in any way. Okay, so again, using the same example as yesterday, if this is the Vatican, where, you know, Alright, so next one is foreign relations. Diplomatic relations can be described using the diplomacy tab. Okay, here you can give the broad explanation of the diplomatic relations established or not of the organization. So are they friends with these guys or are they not? How bad or good is the relationship? What are the terms? Like, is it a trade agreement or is it a yeah, just describing the relationships and how simple or complicated they are. Neighboring geopolitical organizations. Yeah, nations and kingdoms. What's on the border? Fair enough. Like, that's pretty easy. Oh, okay. So I feel like this is more religious specific or political specific. Which territories does the organization occupy, and what is the state of occupation? Are they the ancestral lands forcefully held, being assimilated, or colonized? So yeah, it would be kind of like how every like, let's just think about the Middle Ages. How many of the brain right, how every town had to have like a Catholic priest, so that would be a result of occupation, where they kind of religion in that area, and obviously that comes with like social background and all that. And then just looking into military and how much the military is impacting the area. So what are the military security forces of the organization, if any? So I guess this would be along the lines of like paladins or, religious soldiers who would be, I don't know, maybe oppressing other religions. Like, I'm not trying to flesh out a specific religion right now. I'm just trying to figure out ideas of possible approaches that I could take this, so all of you can kind of get ideas if you want to make your own fictional religion. There we go. So that was really interesting. Official state religion. Yeah, so I feel like that's pretty self-explanatory, and it doesn't come with a little info. Religion's forbidden or taboo. So this is how does this religion interpret other religions in the context of creating a religion. And agriculture and industry. I think I talked about this earlier in terms of. Oh wait, no, I talked about this to myself. Assets of your organization. Think steel production, oil refineries, great grain plains, extensive husbandry, honey production, whaling, stellar mining, or pedigree breeding of horses or dogs. So yeah, I mean, I don't know if or oh no, actually, great example. So during the Dark Ages, monks would be responsible for producing books, which they would have to write out by hand because the books were either for the rich or for the religious. I say for the religious people with religious power, which were taught Latin, which was the only language written in that area at that time. So yeah, so that's one of those places where their industry and their money would be coming from writing and selling handwritten books. So yeah, that's I'm really happy I remembered that example. Trade and transport. So yeah, let's just look into network, super fast trade networks, trade agreements, and trade ports, star bases and wormholes. So yeah, to go into the examples of that. So obviously Horton, continuing the Middle Ages example, just to stay within the context of the area that we're talking about. So this might be on foot. If they were like hyper religious, we must suffer for God. But you know, within the so that's more of that's exploring more of how not only do they produce goods, how do they transport these produced goods in the sense of whatever they can make in a religious sense. Or, you know, even if it's like the Amish people, maybe they sell their fresh corn or something. And that's another, you know, horse and cart example. Alright, imports. Which good? Oh, wait. I will copy paste this so you guys can read with me. Yay! Alright. Which goods does your organization need to acquire from the outside to assure its continuous survival and growth? Which luxuries from faraway lands are in demand from the population? Which products, although possibly produced, don't exactly have a lot of land on which to grow crops, so that would be something that they bring in. Food crops versus exporting. I don't know what the Vatican exports. If anyone has any news about the Vatican, slap it down into the chat, because I'm happy to learn. Alright, so exports is the next one. So which trade items which trade items which are in great demand by others and produced by your organization? What does the organization produce a surplus of? Yeah, so that's like, you know, that's pretty self-explanatory. Ah, this next one is really interesting, especially in terms, if we continue our Vatican example, in terms of religious stuff. So how the members or access differentiation between classes. So I don't know if the Catholic I don't know if the Pope has been like, yes, evolution is good. So this would be a really great example of how people who are raised in, you know, convents or churches or parishes, if they've been left on the doorstep of some priest, what education they have access to. And especially if you have a good relationship or a bad relationship with magic users in relation to the church, because I know that that's a huge taboo in a lot of magic is allowed, but the church, you know, watches the mages with very heavy scrutiny, and they both have different powers applicable in real world situations, as opposed to religion here, which is kind of shaky on that. Don't really want to get into it on this channel, but yeah, just showing the different education levels and the different kinds of education and the access to that education. Like, what if someone is like born magical but they're at a church? And all that, so that's really interesting. Infrastructure. So yeah, I mean, like, I talk about the Vatican a lot, and I feel like it's really really old school. So when they mention stuff, and you'll see what I mean in a second, like space elevators, I'm getting so excited. Alright, what are the physical assets of your organization which assure its health and well-being? Aqueducts, sewerage, road networks, airports, castles, border towers, bridges, locks, town courts, halls, walls, stargates, starbases, and space elevators. Just reading that like last little section of like star bases and space elevators, I'm just imagining like this sci-fi mega church. Which is, you know, it's really interesting. How would they design that? Would they be going backwards in time and creating like these gothic cathedrals made out of asteroids, or, you know, so my imagination is running wild with this. So are they capable of maintaining? And I know this is really weird and just a little bit gross, but I'm just like, how do they manage excrement in space? Like, do they just launch it out into the void and just, you know, there's a little poop somewhere floating in space? Or they probably, you know, do some crazy recycling thing with it. I don't know. I was just, you know, just musings of future technology. Alright, so we're just reaching the bottom of the religious geopolitical maintenance section. So, which technologies are widely available to the citizens of this has developed or manufactured domestically? So again, this is one of those really tough situations where, you know, does the church contribute to technological advances? Or maybe the religion is as something that is, you know, like technologically based. So yeah. Like when we're not going to talk about like Scientology because that's not real science. Like when I talk about like real technology, like putting your souls into crystals or something, what kind of technology, and is this technology usable by other people, or is it, you know, applicable in military or daily life? So yeah, that's really interesting. Or whether they have no technological or scientific access like traditional churches, where it's like, no, God is everything, no evolution. Not needed. Just to make it a little bit nicer. Yeah, and depending on, you know, how popular these things are, yeah, I might release these just because they're good to have. There we go. Oh wait, hold on. I'm just gonna put putting a little link here. Copy download. That's another really good thing. You can link notes together, and it'll just come up as like this little icon here. So I'm just gonna go down and there we go. Excellent. Alright, so, hold on. I need to put a double space, because otherwise you get it at the end, and I just feel like it doesn't look pretty. Alright, so in the next section of religious building in a religious context, the actual religious part of it. So this is really interesting, because like the first two like little like elements are deities in mythology, and I don't know, maybe it's like my own limited thinking, but I never really thought of mythology as a religion. It's interesting. Sorry. I'm still exploring. Yeah, so you have got deities, which yeah, just gonna slot that in. Deities. Oh wait, just gonna put the space at the end. So we've got deities, which is, you know, like the gods and goddesses. So gender, unassigned, higher powers. That's continuing the Greek mythology. The Romans took a lot of the Greek myths and incorporated them. So I think they had. Did my music stop again? No, it's just very quiet. There was a lull. Anyway, yeah, so origins. So the Romans took a lot of already present stories when incorporating other people into that. Cosmology. Huh. So, what is the understanding of the world and its creation according to religion? So, this is kind of like, I don't know, like cosmology must be the. And I'm still learning, so. Like, if you are going to follow my god, these are the rules you have to follow. So, yeah, that's really interesting. Priesthood. So for those of you who don't know, I did grow up in one of the branches of the Latter-day Saints, the Australian branches, and yeah, it was really interesting how controlling and sexist it was. Members of the church. I mean, I don't know if I was like an odd sheep for noticing that, but you know, with the amount of people tithing and how much I was aware my father earned at the time versus the ostentatious wealth of people higher up in the church. Yeah, priesthood. Not a really not a good word for me. And yeah, it's just how these people are. So this is more like who's appointed to guide the flock and how are they distinguished. Yeah, ethics. Ethics is the next one. So yeah, like I don't want to bring any like thing too close to my experience into this, but like it I think it's really interesting to explore these kinds of things because whether I create the kind of religion that I would be inclined to create tells a lot about me as a person. I'm having another delay in my music. Is this an internet issue? Because I had the same thing happen last time. So, yeah. Sorry to interrupt the stream again, guys. I'm just going to make another note to start restarting my router before every stream because, I mean, I'm still learning as I go. There we go. Restart router. Because, yeah, it can get a little bit stream. That was messy writing. Yeah, it can get a little bit kind of dull without music there. Oh, wait, it just started. Bear with me, guys. I'm just listening for the music. I can't hear anything. Is this how ASMR starts? Someone whispers. And then people are like, oh, that's really soothing. So they keep doing it. Something else. Let's hype this up. Okay, it looks like. Oh, wait. It just took a really long time to catch up. It's catching up. Okay, yeah. Oh, hype station. Get ready to be hit with hype. I mean, like, on one side, I'm, like, really curious to hear, what that stuff again. There we go. That's a lot nicer to listen to. In addition to my while being very much against religions. There we go. So epics are granted divine powers. So that would be more like paladins that can, I don't know, make demon heads explode. I don't know. Oh wait, no, I shouldn't write paladins. I should be granted. Or maybe you have like, you know, traveling monks who can soothe anything with their magical banjos. I don't know. Band of like 5 people, or is it a full-on mega church that's, you know, being explored by the CIA with yeah. Political intrigue. Scientology, man. Political intrigue and influence. So that's an interesting one. Oh, worship. So, how do you worship your deity? Do you just have to eat cheese, or do you have to perform a complex 17-step ritual of oil mixing? I don't know, but that's a fun one. Oh, sects. Yeah, so, no, wait. Wrong page, guys. Sects. Alright, so, going back over the definitions of these, now that I have comfortably copy-pasted the actual titles, let's go back and have a look over this stuff. So, deities, which are the deities that this religion recognizes and prays to? So, let's say, again, Greek mythology, they might pray to someone specific, but, you know, like, they might acknowledge that this god exists, they just don't pray to them. So, that's interesting. Like, it might be like a sister god or a father god, or, you know, they're aware that another religion exists. So, that's interesting. So, scrolling down, what are the mythology of forgotten industry? Yeah. Let me untangle my tongue. Alright, what mythology or forgotten history underpins the basis and teachings of this religion? Consider Garden of Eden, creation myth, the stories of the ancient gods and heroes of ages past. So, the Enkidu, and I think it's a Persian myth. It's an Epic of Gilgamesh, so that's obviously from a really long time ago. But that is the Epic of Gilgamesh is, I think, also a creation story and Garden of Eden and stories of like ancient heroes. So, you know, that would be another example of different myths that would and a lot of myths happen in ages before these people. So they're kind of just like, this is what we've known for a really long time. Is it gonna... I just sound constipated. Is this gonna play? Is this gonna... about, yeah, like the previous history and myths that were built upon, or continue to be built upon. It's gotta start somewhere. Alright, so origins, where... develop. I don't know if they mean in a specific sense. So, you know, like for... again, another Christmas thing. I mean, Christian thing. I mean, they come from the same thing. But not really. Getting a lot of really sidetracked today. So... what was I doing? Alright, so... like baptizing people in water, how did that come about? And, you know, that kind of thing. And... yeah, so what is the thinking behind it? And yeah, that's really interesting. Cosmology. What is the understanding of the world and its creation according to this religion? So if we think about ancient Egyptians, they thought that the sun was carted across the sky by a dung beetle at one point. So, you know, that's a good based on their current perception from technology back then. So tenets, what are the basic rules, laws, commandments that define and guide the faithful of this religion? So yeah, that's It could be 5, it could be 500. Who knows? It's your religion. Priesthood. Who guides the faithful of this religion? How are they appointed? How are they distinguished from the rest of the flock? So yeah, the Pope. How do they get appointed, and how do they do that? I mean, the current Pope is doing an alright job. What are the extended rules and interpretations of the tenets of the faith which guide the everyday lives and decisions of the faithful? What is considered a sin or a pious act? So, you know, that's one of those things that are really kick a puppy, although we do not feel that way because that's animal abuse and isn't good. You know, if you don't get them young, they might turn into giant terror beasts to get you later. Alright, what are the supernatural powers granted to the priests or the faithful of this religion? Just, again, coming back to paladins being a very good example of that. Alright, political intrigue and influence. How does this religion affect the political fabric of the organizations that it has permeated? Anyone else feels that way? You guys just watch my streams. That is the only part of this religion. You feel me? Because I don't feel anyone. I'm talking to a screen. Moving on to sects. Alright, so from my understanding, these are like the smaller extensions of this religion. Yeah, there we go. What factions and sects exist? Again, I feel like there's Christianity and there's Catholicism, Orthodox, LDS. Like, I don't know if they're considered sects, but I do feel like if the religion umbrella, if Christianity, these are like all the little people under the umbrella, if you know what I mean. What a weird analogy. There's an umbrella under an umbrella. Well, I suppose even with an umbrella, you can still kind of get rained on because of the droplets coming off the edges. Okay, so we're going back to our classes. So that's gonna be fun. So military, military, can't spell today. Alright, military. Alright, so we got our formation type. I don't know what a formation type is. I thought a formation was the way in which they traveled, but I feel like I'm just gonna have my brain blown out by how incorrect I am. So I'm just gonna do the same thing that I usually do, which is just gonna grab this. There we go. The training level. And the veterancy. So I'm guessing, yeah, is this a group of traveling monks that stay at or below a certain level of military training? Or yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see how they do. Alright, so I'm just gonna copy paste this link. And we shall go into it and have a look. So I'm just gonna create a new section. Oh lordy, did I just... Yeah, no, we're all good. Oh, but it's not the same. Sorry, I've gotta do my thing. There we go. So we have formation types. I feel like I should be putting on this like